to get inside the blood and bones of people long gone. Is it ever possible to know the really real? Isn't the past a foreign country to all of us? Debates which so animated, was animated and controversial years ago have lost some of their relevance and potency now. The boundaries of knowledge and power are more porous, as are dated, essentialized notions of cultural identity. The Pacific geography has expanded. There are many more Pacific Islanders now who live in Australia, New Zealand, and North America, thus complicating issues of insider-outsider paradigm that was so powerful in those years ago. Shifting the center of gravity, don't mind my saying this, don't report to USP. Shifting the center of gravity from the islands to the metropolitan countries. Many practitioners of Pacific Islands today, Pacific studies today, are Pacific Islanders themselves, many in positions of power and influence. So the question of ownership and so on is much more complicated. And some of the romance associated with the study of the Pacific Islands that suffused the earlier generation of Pacific scholarship has vanished in the face of the trouble and turbulence that is an enduring part of the contemporary Pacific. USP both formed and deformed me. It was good for many things, but it didn't prepare us for an academic career, particularly an academic career in metropolitan universities. We learned history, but nothing about what constituted the discipline of history. And scholarship in the Western Academy is organized along disciplinary lines. There's no anthropology at USP, which, as we all know, has a special relevance for understanding the study, for the study of the Pacific. And this sort of knowledge, for those of us condemned to be working in Western Academy, had to be acquired privately, haphazardly, and gaps remain. The whole research culture has changed. You talked about no emails in the 1960s. No emails, no iPods, no mobile phones, no computers, nothing. But its culture has changed. One of the things that really changed is this curiosity-driven research, which was the order of the day when I entered the academy, is gone. We were expected to work on topics which interested us, on which we are expected to make original contribution. Historical research was essentially a solitary exercise. But now, grant-given research done by a team is increasingly becoming the order of the day, at least in the university that I'm familiar with and in my country at the moment. Our research productivity is regularly monitored and rewarded or punished, as the case may be. The places we publish in are ranked, and usually the more esoteric, the better. The pressure to conform is increasing. But the problem is more complicated for some of us coming from non-Western societies and working on non-Western societies, but in Western universities, touching on questions of ethical responsibility that we have towards the people about whom we write, but who can't access what we write about them because it's so expensive. So we are caught in the horns of a huge dilemma. If we want to survive in the Western Academy and get promoted and so on, all that we want, we have to play the game by the rules of the Western Academy. And if we publish there, then that writing is not accessible to the people. And so the dilemma is really quite a painful one for some of us who have begin to think more critically about who we are. What is it that life is about? Feeling a sense of inadequacy about writing, but not reaching the people that really need to reach. And this is the point that people have made about Ron, who started at the other end. He said, look, if you want to know about us, you read us. He wasn't concerned about publishing by Oxford or Cambridge or whatever. And in the end, really, this was this kind of thing that he did, which I think was quite revolutionary, really, at the time. Towards the end of my paper, I talk about some of the problems besetting tertiary education in the islands. Again, a topic on which Ron wrote. The opportunities not grasped, the potential not realized, the shortchanging of students by their mentors, the blurred line between exalted polemic and solid scholarship. With your permission, I just read the last paragraph of my long paper. I'm sorry. There is no. People sometimes ask me, how do you become successful? How is it that a little boy from McCain district in Mombasa is a professor in Canberra? There is no shortcut to success. The journey was much harder for my generation, moving from the world of pre-literacy to literacy within the span of a single lifetime. Being an academic is not only an occupation, it is a sacred responsibility, a distinctive way of life with its own overarching cultural codes, protocols, and rituals. To succeed, it requires discipline, a cultivation of solitude, cultural reinvention, and a deep humility. Our tasks are clearly defined. We must continue to produce and publish research that adds a vital sentence to the larger conversation, global conversation of scholarship. There is no substitute for excellence. We owe that to those who laid the foundation for us in those distant and difficult days, and to those who will inherit the torch in uncertain and demanding times. We must engage critically and sensitively with the outside world, breaking the mold of self-referential, ghettoizing, inward-looking academia. Our natural home should be the interface between the world of scholarship and the world of the lay public. And finally, in this era of galloping globalization, we should do everything in our power to revive the centrality of the humanities in the cultural life of humankind, and in deepening our understanding of the human condition, past and present. As Stephen Garton and Elizabeth Webby argue, and I quote, "If our innovation culture is to prosper, it needs to be embedded in a deep understanding of humanity and cultural difference. This is why humanities are fundamental to human progress." Thank you very much.